At first, the deaths mounted slowly. Then, in late summer, they exploded across the city. By August 1625, there were upward of 4,000 people dying per week in a city with a population of only 300,000. Anyone who could afford to escape the plague distanced themselves from the crowded conditions of London. Newly crowned King Charles prohibited Londoners from entering Whitehall Palace. Parliament adjourned to Oxford. Others, who had enough wealth or a lucky opportunity, escaped to the countryside. Thomas Dekker, a playwright and pamphleteer, wrote A Rod for Runaways in protest of those who fled London. We are warranted by Holy Scriptures to fly from persecution, from the plague, and from the sword that pursues us. But you fly to save yourselves, and in that flight undo others. In part, Dekker was objecting to the wealthy carrying the plague to those who lived in the countryside. He demonstrated this harm in the illustration that adorns the cover of his pamphlet. He reserved his strongest words, however, for the financial undoing of the poor who were left behind in the city. When the wealthy left London, shops closed, churches and charities did not receive alms. The price of bread and grain soared. The economy collapsed. Dekker's rod of punishment was raised against the rich for their financial abandonment of the poor as much as the contagion that they created in the countryside. He chastised the wealthy for not providing financial support for those who could not afford to flee to physical safety and for those who faced starvation. Eventually, King Charles intervened by levying a tax on those who fled, which he used to feed those who had been left behind. In Dekker's description of the plague in 1625, we see that the movements and behaviours of people and the financial circumstances of individuals determined who was safe and who was sick, who was financially secure and who was destitute. In London, the actions and interactions of people, their collective social norms and their individual beliefs, along with the king's policies, all help to determine the path of the plague and its economic consequences. Economics, epidemics and society were intricately intertwined in 1625. They are intertwined today as well. An old adage in epidemiology claims, if you've seen one epidemic, you've seen one epidemic. Just like each individual human being is unique, so is each epidemic. Yet there are regularities to human behaviour, and there are regularities to epidemics and how societies and individuals behave in response to them.